All right, so the next part of the review, we're starting on number 23, or 33, I'm sorry, is the trig portion. So when we talk about trig, remember trig has to do with ratios of sides and right triangles. Ratios of sides and right triangles. So when we start off with trig, we have SohCahToa. Now that's one of the things we gave you to remember. Sine is equal to opposite side, sine of x, sorry, is equal to opposite side over hypotenuse. Cosine of x, or theta, whichever you want to call it. Normally we use x for radians and theta for degrees, but you guys, we're not going to do that with you guys. Cosine of x is, adjacent over hypotenuse. See what happens when I get distracted, which happens quite frequently. Squirrel. So, and the tangent is opposite over adjacent. So we have, that is adjacent, by the way, for those of you that can't read my ugly writing, that's adjacent. So that's what we have SohCahToa, or yeah, let's just talk about SohCahToa because that's the only one that we really should be using. But anyway, so we have SohCahToa. You have find the value of each trigonometric ratio. Okay, so on number 33, what we're going to look at is we're looking at cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So we are looking at angle x. So the first thing you do is identify the angle that you're looking at. Okay? That means that if this is the angle we're looking at from our perspective, remember the hypotenuse is always the hypotenuse, no matter what. I can go hop along to, well, I'm not really going to hop because my knee hurts. All of these are hypotenuse. That doesn't change in a right triangle. But what's adjacent and what's opposite does change in perspective based on what angle you have. So the opposite to x would be over here because that's opposite from the angle, and the adjacent would be right here. Okay, so I want cosine. I want to know the ratio of the side adjacent over the hypotenuse. So which side is adjacent to x? 8. What's the hypotenuse? 17. So the cosine of x is 8 over 17. That's your answer. And you're done. Okay? So let's look at these other ratios. And the next one is sine. Hope you don't get dizzy watching me spin the paper. So C is our angle of choice, sine of C. Well, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay? So what's opposite of C? 15. And what's the hypotenuse? 39. So that is the sine of C, opposite over hypotenuse. Okay? And let's look at the last one. We're looking at the tangent of Z. So Z is our angle right there. That's our perspective. Remember, tangent is opposite over adjacent. Okay? Opposite over adjacent. Opposite of Z is 15. And adjacent to Z is 36. Now I can actually reduce this. These are both divisible by 3. If you remember too, if you add the digits of a number by up and it's a multiple of 3, it can be divided by 3. Same thing for 9. If you add the digits together and it's a multiple of 9, it can be divided by 9. So there's 5 3s and 15 and 12 3s and 36.
I can't find Keelan, and Keelan's not even cleaning her room.
Okay, go to your bed, Bubba. My son says hi. So anyway, that's the regular trig portion. Again, SohCahToa, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. Now, we also have inverse trig. Inverse trig is when we have the angle, but we want to find a missing side. So once again, what I'm going to write up here so you can see it is I'm going to write the SohCahToa so you can see it. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Find each length and round to the nearest hundredth, okay? Well, let's call this A and let's call this H. Well, actually, let's call this X. That'd be best. And that's H. I'm calling it H because it's the hypotenuse. I want to find both the X and the H. Well, pick one first. What do you want to find first? Really? You want to find the hypotenuse first? Me too. So if I want hypotenuse, what am I already given? 12.2. Now, what angle is my angle of reference here? X. There's multiple ways you can solve this. If you want to, if that's 90 and that's 41, you know that this one has to be 49. So we can use that or we cannot use it. It's up to you. Let's not use it first. All right, 41. What is 12.2 in relation to 41? Opposite. What is h in relation to 41? Hypotenuse. So what should we use? Sine. So the sine of 41 is equal to 12.2 over the hypotenuse, which is what we're looking for. Now, if you remember when we went over this, I told you you could put that over 1. We're going to take our handy-dandy calculators because it's really nice to have a calculator. And I'm going to make sure, first of all, that my mode, see my mode's in radian, I want it in degree mode. I'm going to change it to degree. And I'm going to take the sine of 41. And remember, we went to 4 decimal places, so 0.6561. So this is going to be, we're looking for xz here. Oh goodness. See, this is what happens when you don't pay attention, but we'll do both. So the sine of 41 is equal to 0.6561, and that's equal to 12.2 over h. And again, I didn't read the instructions carefully because I'm not that brilliant, and so we're looking for xz. We should have done a different function first, but we'll go ahead and find the hypotenuse first, and then I'll do the correct ones over here. Sorry guys, it's late. So I'm going to cross multiply, so 0.6561h equals 12.2. I divide both sides by 0.6561. And so I have 12.2 divided by 0.6561, and that is 10.6. Sorry, 18.6. So the hypotenuse is 18.6. But since your teacher did not pay attention, it is asking for xz. It wants this side. So what should we have solved for first? X. And we could have used x and 12.2. Now that we know the hypotenuse, we could use the 18.6, but there's really no need. So if I'm looking at x, what are these two? Opposite and adjacent. So what function is that? Tangent. So to go directly to it, the tangent of 41 equals 12.2 over x. And you solve it the same way. You put tangent of 41 in your calculator. I've already changed. Remember, go to mode, make sure you're in radian. So tangent of 41 equals 0.8693. So I have 0.8693, and all this is over 1, equals 12.2 over x. I'm going to cross multiply, so 0.8693 equal x equals 12.2, and then you divide, so 12.2 divided by 0.8693 is 14. So xz is 14.0 because it's 14.03. And again, I apologize, that's what happens when you don't read the instructions first. So let's look at 37. Let me separate this out here so you can, whoop. Let's look first at what we want. We want hi. Hi. We want this side. So here's your angle. All right, I is your angle of reference, and we know the hypotenuse, and we want this side. What is this side compared to the angle? Stop it. It is the adjacent, okay? So I've got adjacent and hypotenuse. So what am I going to use? Cosine. So the cosine, what, honey? Of 55.
I went to go check on Caden, and then his light turned off. Like it literally turned off and like.
Just like that.
And
huh?
off, and then.
Well, I'm glad you checked on him. Go check on him. Go.
And then again.
Okay, go to bed, please. Y'all are making mommy nuts.
Off and then on, and then off.
Hi,
and
honey.
On, and then
Would you
off.
please go to bed? Mommy's trying to help people. Mommy's already doing things like crazy because mommy's crazy. So another visit for my kids. 0.5736. 0.5736 equals x over 100. And then what are you going to do? You guessed it, cross multiply. So 0.5736 times 100 is 57.36, and x times 1 is x. Okay? So HI is 57.36, or you can round to 57.4. Again, the cosine of the angle is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. We're looking for adjacent. If you don't go to bed right now, there's going to be severe consequences. So the next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at my children not interrupting us with fart noises. Yay! Parent life. So here we're looking for EF. I want this one, and I have this angle. So what is that immediately? That's the opposite, right? What other side do I have? The adjacent. So what function? Tangent. So I'm going to say the tangent of 72 degrees is equal to my opposite over 31, right? Opposite over adjacent, okay? Tangent of 72, when you put it in the calculator, because calculators are amazing, tangent of 72 is 3.0777. And that is equal to opposite over 31. So now we're going to cross multiply. Now this is opposite. I'm just going to put OPP. Yeah, and you know me. That was pretty funny, right? I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply that by 31. So I get 95.4. And then 1 times opposite equals opposite. So EF is 95.4. And you are done. So that's how you apply the trig. Okay, you have to set up the ratios. All right, let's look at the last one in the trig section, and hopefully my battery doesn't run out, because that would be really bad and I would get really upset, and you guys really don't care. So anyway, we're going to find the height of the flagpole. Okay, sorry, I thought I heard my son. Find the height of a flagpole that casts a shadow, that should be cast, a shadow 36 meters long. Attached to the top of the flagpole is a guide wire, okay, and it's anchored at a 40-degree angle. If it's 40-degree angle with the ground, at least at the end of the shadow, we want to know how tall the flagpole is, right? So that's it. There's our angle. That's opposite, right? And what else do they give us? Adjacent. Opposite and adjacent is what? You guessed it, tangent. So the tangent of 40 degrees is equal to x, which is our opposite, over 36, which is our adjacent. So let's bring in the handy dandy calculator and do tangent of 40 degrees, and we get 0.8391. We're going to put that over 1. 8391 equals x over 36. So then I'm going to cross multiply. So 0.8391 times 36 is 30.2. So we have 30.2, and 1 times x is 1. So we have 30.2. And that's meters. Make sure you have, so the flagpole is 30.2 meters high. There you go. That is your trig.